to elect chair and vice chair. Per the city's ordinances and rules, those positions are for 1 year. So the former chair, she stepped aside in December of 2019. Pastor Doug was vice chair at that time. And so he moved into the position of chair, and Tyrone was nominated as and voted in as vice chair. That was December of 2019. Okay, any questions or comments about elections? Is everyone okay with kind of taking care of that in email?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then next up for new business is the Disability Awareness Walk 2021. As things look right now, of course, we won't more than likely be able to have our walk for this year. So I just like to kind of gather your thoughts on any kind of alternative event that we could do.
I had an agenda. I just want to check in on that right now. As you know, we're still trying to figure out how to, incorporate activities in the post pandemic era. So I would believe whatever we do is probably going to have to be something that still is going to be virtual, probably. And just with me, if anyone's been following my community heroes, a lot of things we've been kind of been pushing on is either making awareness through webinars or getting some guest speakers, and then really taking a couple of months to promote it, just try to get as many people to engage into it. And that way everyone is safe. They're in their own spots. If you got connectivity, you can watch it. So that's just my spiel on one option that we could do.
Do we have to have it in the spring? Can it be moved to early fall? Maybe with vaccines being given, that would help.
Good idea.
That could be an option, Miss Donna, to be considered. So would you want to just not do anything in May during the normal time of the walk and just kind of wait and see if it will be possible to have maybe a smaller scale physical event in the fall? Or should we still try to put something out virtually in May? And at the same time, still consider maybe an in-person fall event?
Well, I don't think that we should ignore the month that we normally do it in. We can never create too much disability awareness. That's just my thought, to do both if possible.
Miss, I got a question. The Disability Awareness Walk, is it a certain amount of miles that that normally is done that day, or is it a certain amount of time? I'm sorry, I've never been aware of it, but I had a suggestion. If you wanted to try to do something virtually, there's this thing where you can like come up with a big old long poster board and maybe give out little chips to people and have them like document their steps. And if we have a certain amount of goal that we're trying to reach for miles or whatever, then it's on the honor system, and then they will just let us know what their miles is, and we can put it on a board or something like that. If you want to still acknowledge it in May, that might be something that we might want to consider.
Thank you, Tammy. That's a great suggestion. Any thoughts or feedback on that?
Yes, this is Mike Basin. You might couple that idea with a relay instead of a mass group walking. you could have relay points where somebody walks a certain distance and then waves to another participant that walks another distance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Michael. Did everyone understand? I think feedback is coming back. So Mr. Michael suggested relay points with whatever designated number of miles that are walked, that some kind of honor points or relay points are given as an incentive. Anyone else? Miss Wanda, were you going to say something? Okay, Miss Wanda, we could not understand. Could not understand you at all. I'm so sorry.
I like the idea of the relay as well, because then you could go, maybe a group home could start off and then walk a certain distance, and then another group home go, or people from the community go. So I like that idea. You're still making an awareness of disabilities, of public awareness, which I think is part of our goal. And I like the idea of the relay, just small groups going together and then passing off, so to speak, to another group or individuals.
Is the question, is the limitation on outside gatherings the governor has said, is it 50? I'm asking, I can't remember.
I don't know if there is one for outside.
I think there is. Indoors, I think it's only 10. And I think if it's outside, for some reason, I have 50 individuals that can gather, in a crowd. The other thing that we could do too, since we're having some audio issues today, is email some recommendation ideas to you, Felicia.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Miss Peer, if you don't mind being singled out, could you share with our new members just kind of the history and of the walk, and just some of the highlights, the things that it entails, and the number that we usually have come out?
Well, it's a great big fun festive outdoor event with balloons, and a lot of the various providers have giveaways. We even had a big raffle one year where we gave each participant a raffle ticket and gathered together a bunch of gifts for them. But it takes place at St. Paul's United Methodist downtown, and there are always snacks after the walk that are offered, and drinks. Gather in St. Paul's parking lot, and there's usually a marching band that goes along with it, and we cover so many city blocks. We turn right out of their parking lot and we go down to, I think, maybe John Street and hang a left, or and then go on to Center Street and hang a left. And so it's not that we do a lot of miles, but we like to get the downtown businesses involved in it as much as possible. And they come out and they cheer the guys on, which is always a lot of fun. We're doing it to create awareness. So whatever we might do with a relay, I think we need to accompany that with, I don't know exactly how we would couple that with awareness. It's certainly our own people, our special populations would be aware, but we want to create awareness for the general public. So I guess that would be the question.
And so, thank you, Ms. Pierce. So it's a really big, it's certainly the Mayor's Committee's, one of the City of Goldsboro's biggest events.
Right.
I think for 2019, I think I'm safe to say we may have had about 500 people total
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that big, but that's
Uh,
wonderful. Yeah.
400 maybe. But we have most agencies, local agencies. We really have a big response from Oberry Center, which, of course we can't do that right now, or even thinking about anything that large. So it's usually really big. Mr. David, kind of getting back to you asking about the limitation for outdoor gatherings. So I don't know if we could even try to pull it off on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Because, I've already begun getting phone calls asking about the walk.
Right.
I was getting phone calls last fall about the walk for this year.
I can remember years ago when I first served on the mayor's committee, and I can't remember the dates, but it was the late 90s, early 2000s, and we were probably drawing 200 to 300, individuals, participants at that time, and I know it's grown since.
Okay. Anyone else?
I just wanted to just kind of throw my 2 cents with everybody else. I like the board and the walking points idea. I thought that was a good idea. And I just wanted to, as we were talking about maybe earlier about if we had to maybe move in the walk later on, further in the fall. And the first thing that came to my mind, and maybe it's just me, I didn't know how far in the fall we would go, since we usually have our annual banquet in October, and that takes prepping too to get that going. So you just don't want to have too much going on at one time trying to prep. I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
And the heat in the fall is pretty tough too.
It can be. What do you all think about? We have lots of footage from the 2019 walk, which was the last one we were able to do. So there are lots of photos and video from that walk. We also had a live band for that year. Maybe putting together just some highlights from then, in addition to if we decide to do something virtual, the relay. Tammy, I liked your idea of the poster boards and just kind of promoting, encouraging everyone to just still walk on that day. But then also maybe putting together some highlights, just putting a video out with showing some highlights as a way of promoting as well, in addition to the other virtual kind of other things that we discussed.
Yeah, I think those are good ideas.
Okay, so thank you everyone for the discussion. Pastor Doug, I think you've made it.
Do you want us to send the email recommendations to you, Felicia, or anybody else?
Yes, that would be good.
To you?
Yes, you can send those to me.
Okay.
And we usually develop, Mr. David, subcommittees, and thank you for asking. We usually for the committee's events, there are subcommittees that are usually formulated, and the subcommittees are individual members who will commit to putting a little extra time into helping to plan and organize for those events. So we can certainly initiate a subcommittee, whether we decide to do virtual or try to actually plan something for the fall. Whatever is decided, we can still certainly utilize a subcommittee. I think that would be good. Subcommittees are always a great way to get some extra groundwork and things done.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
When would you like, do you have like a deadline in submitting an email for, ideas to you?
I would say by the next meeting.
Okay, so within a month?
Yes, sir, by February's meeting, and then we can, certainly have some more discussion then and talk about putting together that subcommittee.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. David. Pastor Doug, would you like to chime in? We started out having some technical issues, so hopefully you can join us. we won't have any issue. Pastor Doug? Okay. So we'll move on to the educational series. There's been some discussion about the Mayor's Committee providing some educational webinars or some things like that in past meetings. And just last month, Mr. Donald, I know you mentioned with your being an employee at the Wayne County Jail that you share some issues with inmates coming in with not only mental disabilities, physical disabilities, all sorts of disabilities. And then Pastor Doug and a few others shared about experiences with individuals with disabilities and law enforcement. So I thought that maybe law enforcement training, maybe reaching out to mental health associations, some other partners, local partners, community entities that are certainly professionals in that area to assist us or collaborate with the committee in hosting some webinars, some educational webinars. Pastor Doug, I think I saw that you tried to get on. Okay.
Yeah, he just messaged me. He said he's sorry, but his audio is really bad, and so he was just saying the mantle told me to continue on.
Okay, thank you, Tyrone, for that. Okay, any discussion, any other topics? That's what I guess I'd like to know from the committee. Any other topics? Any suggestions for educational webinars or any kind of things that we can discuss or anything?
Just a brief comment about, I'm sorry, Dawn, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just a thought going through my mind, being an advocate at Oberry for many years, and you're talking about mental health issues and law enforcement and prisons and things, noticing abuse and neglect of people as well, what to look for, physical, mental, verbal, things like that, might not be a or discuss.
Oh, that's a great topic, Miss Donna. Thank you. Anyone else?
I know, being a former mental health employee in the county system, that a big focus was law enforcement training through educational seminars, if you will, or in services through the mental health staff to law enforcement in terms of coming into a situation, a crisis situation, and being able to maybe de-escalate that situation instead of just cuffing somebody and carting them off to jail. You know, other alternatives to incarceration.
Okay.
And I can understand what Don is talking about in terms of abuse, neglect, exploitation as well, because I've seen, several situations of that, throughout my career of, people being exploited.
Same here, Mr. David. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Any other suggestions? Is this something you feel like the committee can do?
Sure.
Would you like to take on?
I don't mind.
I'd be on board with it.
I think it's a good outreach for our committee.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think it'd be something good. It'd be something good and something the community very much needs.
Okay.
And a question. So it sounds like whenever we do this educational series, we may focus on a lot of the defining about symptoms, conditions, different things with disabilities, whether it be physical or mental. But I wonder when we talk about the educational series, like how far would we be planning on trying to look at different things like example for me, outside we're going to look at the importance of inclusion with disabilities and the breaking the stereotypes, and how they themselves portray themselves. And I know, the more you talk about stuff, it's going to get deeper, but I think that's very important to bring up in any community because disabilities take on so many different appearances. You can be someone who's autistic and no one will know you're disabled until you go and talk, and so, but that individual may also have depression, because they witness certain things whenever they maybe go out for a job or something. So I do think we need to talk about the mindset of someone who may be trying to transition with a disability.
And is this Tyrone that made those comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think Felicia had asked me to maybe step forward and chair, what we're talking about. And, to me, a good starting point would be some of the staff at local agencies, East Point, and some of the other, private providers. And again, I know East Point was very instrumental in some of those educational training situations with law enforcement. And I dare say that there would be staff available to come and speak with us, or part of maybe activities during the month of leading up to, the disability walk or the banquet in the fall or whatever, that they could reach out, to groups of people on a variety of topics that we would ask them to address for us. So I think that's a good, recommendation or comment on your part.
Going along with what Tyrone was talking about education, also letting people know what's available in our community for the disabled.
Right.
Different programs that, used to when you were in charge of the single portal,
Right.
that you were the, end all and all there is. But now East Point's involved in all this, and what else is available for people with disabilities would be a nice topic to discuss as well.
Thank you all. These are great topics. Tyrone, we can certainly, the committee can certainly address any topic. And I was going to ask, Mr. David has already hit on it, should there be a subcommittee for this particular activity? And Mr. David, it sounds like you volunteered to chair the subcommittee. That would be great, considering your wealth of experience and your background. So thank you for that. How often, let me ask, how often would we want to put out an educational series? One every quarter?
I think quarterly I'm just one person. I would say quarterly would be very appropriate. I don't know about, how the other members feel.
What would be the platform that we would use? Would it be a YouTube thing, or would we do a video that we would share with different agencies, or how would we do that?
Well, I think the platform could be like what we're doing today. It could be media, other ideas from the subcommittee. With the way things are right now, with the limitations and our hands being tied with COVID, Zoom, Cisco web, meetings seem to be the way to reach people anymore. Gathering in a conference room or a banquet room or whatever. Our hands are tied until, as Donna was saying, until we get more folks vaccinated and get a handle on with the COVID virus.
Could something also go into like the newsletter that's sent out just a little brief blurb newsletter that sent out with the with the water bills and things like that.
That's a nice little thing I don't know who started that, but I enjoy reading that. I don't
Yeah, me
like
too.
the water bill, but I like reading
Yeah.
that flyer that comes.
Yeah, keep the water bill. Those are great suggestions, and I can certainly talk that over with Brad and our team here. I just would need to know if you like to, maybe, of course, it'll be a video, or like Mr. David suggested, just like a similar platform as our meeting platform. Would we want those series to be during the meeting time every quarter?
Yes.
Okay. So people are not having to search around and trying to figure out and find where it is. They will just know that on this particular day, the same day and time as the committee meeting, that will be the highlight for that particular meeting.
Yeah, and even though we would have a subcommittee, so to speak, I mean, obviously, as a board, a committee, obviously your suggestions, recommendations, we'd love to have. Not just, 4, 5, 6 people, however large the subcommittee may be.
Yes, and we usually, Mr. David, even though we have subcommittees that kind of do the groundwork, we always discuss everything with the committee as a whole.
Sure.
And so that everyone's always aware and involved. So the committee at large is still involved with all of the activities. So this is a great group to work with. We're glad to have you, Mr. David, and Tammy, and Mr. Michael. Certainly glad to have you, and glad that you jumped right in today.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on the educational series? If not, we're gonna move further on our agenda to Night to Shine for 2021, and Miss Donna Countryman is gonna discuss that.
Night to Shine, the Tim Tebow Foundation sponsored event for special needs individuals. Last year we had it at the Maxwell Center in February, and it was one magnificent night. It was truly awesome. I can't come up with any better adjectives to describe it. People were dressed to the nines. We had a band. We did have a band, and we had a DJ, and they danced the night away. We had catering supplied, and toward the end of the evening, Tim Tebow came on his video, and he pronounced all honored guests as kings and queens of prom, because they are kings and queens in God's eyes. And so there was a special message from our minister that evening, and they just had a great time. They danced all night long. We did have Miss North Carolina and Miss Goldsboro and all the princesses from around the it was just wonderful. Unfortunately, 2021 won't look that way. The foundation did decide they did not want to keep prom night. It will be on February the 12th, and around 6 o'clock. It will be viewed, the honored guests will view it on their computers or their TV. I did find out today that the platform for it will be, and I can't pronounce it, but I'll spell it, Vimeo. And I think you can get that on your television if you have an HD TV. I'm working on it. But that's the platform it will be. They've not given me the link to that yet. That will come later on. But I wanted the committee to know that as of last Tuesday, we had 37 honored guests registered. As of Friday, we have 111 honored guests registered. And we've cut it off. We're done. I never thought when it started, when we heard it was going to be virtual and the news got out and we just weren't getting any registrations, I thought we'll never hit 100. I would be happy, thrilled to get 75 people. And then when we reached 111, I couldn't believe it. I had to go back and order some more things for the honored guest. What the committee is doing is on the 30th of January, we're meeting at our church, First Baptist downtown, and we're going to be filling the honored guest gift bags on that day. Somewhere around the 10th or the 11th of February, a group of us are going to go out to each guest's home or group home, and we're putting a yard sign out as we are celebrating a night to shine honored guest, a king or queen for that evening. And so that'll be in their yard. And in anticipation, on February the 12th, we're caravanning to each group home or each individual's home, a bunch of cars, hooting and hollering and blaring, whatever, and decorated, and we're going to hand them their gift bags. Along with that, Pizza Inn and Zaxby's so far have donated box meals for the individuals and the parents or caregivers for that evening. So we have been thrilled with the donations that have come in and people wanting to help. So I just wanted the committee to know that we're continuing on, and we have a date for 2022. It's February the 11th. And praying, everybody please keep praying that this mess will go away and we can have it back at the Maxwell Center, because even though we're excited about this year, we were more excited last year, and we're going to be even more excited on 2022. So if anybody has any questions, I am here.
Very good, Donna.
Thanks.
Thank you, Miss Donna. And I'll just add that the Mayor's Committee agreed to partner and collaborate on the Night to Shine with the first year, 2019. 2020 was the first year. I know the end of 2020 we kept saying last year, but
I know.
but
now we can say last year.
Yes, we can say last year. So the Mayor's Committee did commit to partner and collaborate. So we do. There are a few members, including myself, who have who are on the planning committee for Night to Shine. So we'll be looking forward to that. Miss Donna, anything about volunteers? Any more volunteers needed?
I'm sure we can use some volunteers for the 12th on Caravan Day. We're trying to keep the time limit down from between 12 and 3 on that day. Just to make sure everyone's gotten what they need before it gets really dark, and I'm able to come back home and get my own daughter ready for Night to Shine. We are encouraging all the honored guests to please dress nicely as if they were going to a prom. But that's up to them. If they want to sit in their jeans. They're going to be viewing it on the TV. It'd be like you watching, I believe, the ball drop on New Year's Eve. The foundation is doing all the entertainment, all the music, all the special guests, all the devotion for that evening. So it's only supposed to be about an hour long, but they're also supposed to be able to go back and review it again if they want to at a later time. Our pastor, Glenn Phillips, has agreed to do a video devotion, and we're going to attach that to the link that they get so that they, because they recognize him more. They've seen him. They saw him last year at the Night to Shine. A lot of our honored guests do go to our church, so they know him. So I thought maybe having a familiar face here at the devotion as well would be helpful. So we're attaching that link onto the link the foundation gives us. But if you want to volunteer, I do have forms, and they're on the website of First Baptist Church, Goldsboro, under Ministries. And then there's a link to Night to Shine, and the form is available there. And you can just send it back to me, and I'll get it.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Donna.
Thank you.
Okay, and so the last item on the agenda is an announcement. Are there any announcements? The only one I have is that a reminder for the disclosure forms that are required from each member, and the deadline for those forms for that form is February 1st. So I will send out another reminder email for those I haven't received. I think I may have received half of the membership's disclosure form. So again, it is required, being that you serve on one of the city's boards and commissions, you are considered an official. So this disclosure form is required, and again, the deadline is February 1st. So I will send out another reminder and send the form out again. Okay, are there any other announcements? Okay, Tyrone, do you want to close us out?
Yes, I'll do that since we're all done. So I call that we end this meeting at 12:45. Adjournment.
Second.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.